Sunbelt softball battles, but comes up short. It's Locked on Sunbelt.
You are Locked on Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to another edition of Locked on Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. All right, we're here in lovely Louisville, Kentucky, still enjoying the festive occasion of my nephew graduating. So we'll talk Sunbelt baseball tourney bracket is set and the race for the Sunbelt Player of the Year that may actually be up for grabs. But Sunbelt softball battled all weekend long, but did come up short. Cajuns got off to a tremendous start with a run rule victory over Princeton, but then some bad defense opened up the gates for some offense from Baylor, and they lost 8-0. They come back. They beat Princeton 2-1 to advance to the championship round, and run rule Baylor 13-0. And then, defensively, they couldn't get it done. Early in the game, they had chances to break it open and couldn't get it done. And Baylor makes a couple of nice plays. CC Vasquez was thrown out at the plate trying to score, and that was the difference in the game. Cajuns come up short against Baylor. It's got to be a little bit disappointing. If you get beat, which I kind of did on Sunday in the last game, but they sort of beat themselves as well. A couple of runs. There was a play that was ruled a base hit, but should have been an error, and that kind of opened up the 2 runs that allowed Baylor to take the lead. They did battle. Their pitching actually, I think, held up. Chloe Risotto was fantastic. Landry pitched well. Locker got in there. What a deal for her, right? She hadn't played most of the year and hits a 3-run bomb against Princeton early on. So Cajuns come up just a bit short. It's got to be disappointing because, well, they were hosting and ready to show out, I guess, and looking forward to possibly taking on Florida. We'll get to them here in a minute. But Brooke Elstead, who was struggling at the end of the year, struggled coming into the regional. She had a grand slam. Did she have 7 RBIs on the day? Something like that on Sunday. She played well. Maya Davis was a really good. Lainey Crater was fantastic. Just everyone seemed to play well. It just wasn't enough. A couple of key mistakes defensively did them in. So the Cajuns come up short. Baylor will advance. It should be said that all 3 Sunbelt softball teams did win their first ball game, and a couple in dramatic fashion. Texas State had a 3-run 6th inning rally in their first ball game of the regional against Penn State on Friday, and they won that 4-2. And then they had a shot, right? They lose 1-0 to A&M. That's the kind of game that there's your opportunity to try and win it. And it really is such a big difference, although I'm not sure it made that big a deal with the Cajuns. I didn't think they had enough pitching to get them through to where they got to, and they did, right? They lost 4-3 in what was the 5th and final game of the regional. So the pitching held up. But when you lose that second game, and especially when you lose it like Texas State did compared to what the Cajuns did, 8-0, and Texas State loses that 1-0, it puts them in a hole. Nonetheless, they did come back and double up Penn State again from 4-2 to 8-4. And so then they get A&M in College Station, and A&M wins 8-0. So a valiant effort by the Bobcats. taking not quite to the brink, but still getting to that championship, if you will, the final game in the regional to try and advance. South Alabama, they had their own thrilling victory on Friday, throwing a runner out at the plate to keep it a 1-0 ball game. You just don't see that very often. Game-ending plays at the plate to determine a winner, as if Florida Atlantic was going to tie the game. They tie the game, and who knows? They have a runner in scoring position after that. Who knows what happens? But that ends the ball game, and they have a shot. Instead, they don't have a shot, right? That's the end of the game. So South Alabama advances to take on number 4 Florida, and the Gators rout them 9-1. South Alabama comes back, as the Cajuns did, and as the Bobcats did, beats Florida Gulf Coast 5-1, but then falls to Florida again 9-1. So the Sun Belt had 3 teams in. One was a host. People thought that Texas State could compete. We saw that South Alabama could compete, but Florida just a little bit too good. So certainly a disappointing endings for certainly the Cajuns, and I'm sure South Alabama and Texas State feel bad, for losing, and maybe putting up a little bit better battle. The Cajuns got it to that second ball game on Sunday, but just come up short. I don't know about the other two. I mean, I think Lackey and Mullins are gone. The Cajuns are not losing any starters. We'll see who they add, right? There may be some freshmen who decide to leave because they're still blocked. I don't know, how much NIL money is there for softball players or the transfer portal. But Locker was the only one who was on senior day, who was honored on senior day. Everybody else is coming back. All the starters are coming back. Now they may go and find some pitching to add for some pitching depth, and they may have that on the roster already, just maybe a little bit too young to compete. But the Cajuns will be back, and they will probably have another incredibly hard schedule. They will get scheduled because teams know that they'll have a good RPI. That won't be if you lose. The problem with playing like a group of 5 in men's basketball is that that's not going to help your RPI a lot of times. Well, teams know across the country, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, the Cajuns go back to Waco to play Baylor next year. Teams have a lot of respect for each other, and I think the Cajuns will be just fine next season. But it is disappointing to come up short when you host a regional and lose by 1 run. That is going to sting, I would think, for a bit. All right, let's take a time out. We got the Sun Belt baseball bracket is set. A little bit of a surprise who's playing on day one. I had to do a double take on that. And how many teams are in the NCAAs? I'm not sure. I agree with the prognosticators. I could be wrong. All right, we will do that when we come back. I tell you about LinkedIn Jobs and Lafayette Travel. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Post your job for free on linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And Lafayette Travel. Escape to Lafayette, Louisiana, the happiest city in America, where every visit is uniquely seasoned with unforgettable experiences. Savor world-class cuisine, including mouth-watering boudin, savory gumbo, and piping hot crawfish, seasoned to perfection. Experience lively festivals that celebrate Lafayette's one-of-a-kind heritage. Explore magnificent trails that lead you through our rich cultural history and breathtaking natural beauty. Discover the untouched purity of our cypress and tupelo swamps, where you can paddle past nesting birds and sunbathing alligators. Immerse yourself in the vibrant rhythms of Cajun and Zydeco music that can be heard any night of the week. Whether your passion is for our rich cultural history, the bustling culinary scene, or the distinctive blend of Cajun and Zydeco music, the happiest city in America has something for everyone. Start planning your adventure at LafayetteTravel.com/season. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let's see if we have the where did the Sunbelt bracket go? Cajuns are your 1 seed, and your 2 seed is Southern Miss. Oh, there we go. It's staring right in front of me. Okay. But surprisingly, on Tuesday, Coastal Carolina is the 7 seed. Coastal Carolina is playing in an elimination ball game. They're taking on Georgia State. Probably going to win that ball game, but Georgia State did beat them one time a couple weekends ago. Coastal Carolina taking on Georgia State 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and Old Dominion, number 8, takes on South Alabama in game 2 on Tuesday. All right. Now, oddly enough, the Cajuns is the number 1 seed. They get to choose what time they want to play. Wisely, they want to play early in case there is weather. So they're playing 4 p.m. on a Wednesday. They will play the lowest seed remaining. So whoever, if basically they don't have to play Coastal is what it comes down to. If Coastal wins, they'll go play Southern Miss. They could play either Georgia State, Old Dominion, or South Alabama. They won't play Coastal. If Coastal beats Georgia State, the Cajuns will get Old Dominion or South Alabama. That's where that is, all right? On the same side as the Cajuns, you got Georgia Southern and James Madison. It's big time for James Madison, okay? They'll take on Georgia Southern. On the other side, with Southern Miss getting the team that is not playing the Cajuns, you get number 3, Troy, and App State, and we'll see. Okay. I am still convinced the Sun Belt has 3 teams into the NCAA tournament. I think the Cajuns are in. They're the Sun Belt champions. They got a mid-30 RPI. Try not to lose the first game you play in the Sun Belt Conference tournament, and you're going to be a 2 seed, most likely. Southern Miss is it, right? Southern Miss has, they got like a top 30 RPI, right? They're also going for a 2 seed. Southern Miss dropped to, they dropped. All right, 34. So they did drop to 34. Okay. And then Coastal Carolina is 35. So those 3 teams are in. That's what I think. A lot of other people have Troy and JMU in. I'd be very nervous if I am a mid-major, James Madison with a 44 RPI. And I know RPI is not the end-all be-all. I guess there's KPI now. But RPI, I know that's not the case, all right? James Madison is in the Sun Belt. They do have a really good non-conference schedule. They have the 5th-ranked non-conference schedule in the nation. So that may help them. That may be a deciding factor. All right. Troy is sitting at 53. They're on the opposite end of that spectrum. I've been hammering the Cajuns on their schedule all year long. Troy, who finished 18-12 in the Sun Belt, they have the 212th non-conference schedule ranking. That is, some weak sauce, to say the least. Certainly rooting for them all to get in. Let's go back to the bracket. So I think James Madison, has some work to do, right? Like if they win 2 ball games and get bounced after that, they probably get in. So they beat Georgia Southern, and we'll just say for the sake of the discussion, they beat the Cajuns. That's probably getting them in, all right? On the other side, Troy's got to play App State. I'm not sure how much that helps out with the RPI. Where's App? Do I have to go to the App's at 76? So that's not going to help too much. But if they beat App and take down Southern Miss, I still think they're sitting in the high 40s at best. So I think me personally, I think Troy and JMU have work to do. I think the other three are in. Very well could all be 2 seeds. Cajuns, Coastal, and Southern Miss. I certainly think the Cajuns and Southern Miss are 2 seeds, especially if either one of those teams and even Coastal win the conference tournament. They're all looking like potential 2 seeds. Could a Georgia Southern surprise? Could App State and their offense surprise? I don't think it would be a surprise if Troy made a move with their offense. And we'll see how some of those teams from the smaller parks like Coastal, like Troy, like Georgia Southern compete in, a ballpark that is not small. We'll put it that way. More of a fair park. Although I think the ball carries pretty well in Montgomery. But it may not be what it is like in Troy or Georgia Southern or Coastal Carolina. All right. We'll just say a fair ballpark. It should be a lot of fun. You got teams. South Alabama lost 2 out of 3 to the Cajuns. They want to make a run. They think they got a shot. They certainly did hit well in the first 2 ball games against the Cajuns. See if their pitching can hold up. It was a little bit off against UL because of the suspended ball game on Thursday heading into Friday. And so we'll see if somebody like an Old Dominion or a South Alabama can make a run. And does that knock out a Troy or JMU, or does that add to it? Or nope, we're struggling with the Wi-Fi. All right. Been struggling with the Wi-Fi for a little bit. I've done these before in Louisville, and it is what it is. It works most of the time. I think it's my computer. I don't think it's my brother's Wi-Fi. All right, let's take a time out. Let's come back and talk about the Sun Belt Player of the Year. I think it's one guy. It could very well be another guy, and there's certainly some other people. And we could talk about the Pitcher of the Year. I haven't quite looked at that nearly as much, but we'll do that after we come back and I tell you about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money line, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Did mention over the weekend, and maybe it was even Friday, and they were playing early in lovely Boone, North Carolina on Friday as I was traveling up here to Louisville. Let's see where my stats are. That, Banks Tolley has had a ridiculous season for App State. I'm not here to take a shot or praise one player and take a shot at another player. That's not worth it. You can't take a shot at a player who leads the league in hitting, leads the league in home runs, and is what? Second in RBI. There's no reason to take a shot at Banks Tolley, okay? He's had a great season, and he very well may win the Sun Belt Player of the Year. And it's not, by the way, one thing has nothing to do with the other. I do not care what your pro prospects are. Doesn't mean a thing. This is not about who's going to be the best pro. It matters who had the best year in the Sun Belt, period, end of story. And Banks Tolley absolutely had a sensational season, 385, 25 home runs, 71 RBIs. The thing is, usually, not all the time, but usually these kind of awards go to the best player on the best team. All right. There wasn't a huge standout player in the Sun Belt softball side. So Maya Davis, who I guess led the league in hits, played for the best team in the conference. She won Player of the Year. The Cajuns won the conference by 3 games. App State, as this was pointed out, Banks is having this great year, but the pitching staff has a 7 ERA. That's not Banks' fault. And by the way, that's a tremendous name. Banks Tolley is a great name. App State finished 16-13-1. So, and I don't have the home and away breakdown, but I'm going to guess that the same issues that App State has of keeping it in the ballpark also may help Banks a little bit with hitting it out of the ballpark. It's, playing in the mountains in lovely Boone, North Carolina. So he's had a tremendous season. And honestly, playing homer here, I get it. It's going to be tough if Kyle DeBarge does not win Player of the Year in the Sun Belt. I don't care that he's, a second or third round pick. Maybe at the end, he is short. All right. He's compact, he's 5'9", $175. But he had a ridiculous season, and especially down the stretch. Finishes with a .361 batting average, sets the record for home runs for the Cajuns, a team with 21, 67 runs batted in. The home runs were second to Tolley, second in RBI. He was third in base hits, a little bit down the list on hitting. He was ninth in the conference in hitting. And I think he was behind Banks in runs. He scored 61 runs. Sam Antonacci, who may get some votes as well, he led the league in runs with 84. Banks was fourth with 66. So it will probably come down to Kyle DeBarge and Banks Tolley. The thing is, and again, I'm absolutely understand I'm slanted because I cover the Cajuns being in Lafayette. I'm not sure I've seen a player hotter for the last month than Kyle DeBarge. I know Banks had, and Brooks Bryan absolutely had a wonderful season. They kept on pitching to Kyle DeBarge, whether it was Coastal Carolina, Southern Miss, South Alabama. They just keep on pitching to Kyle, Georgia Southern. They just kept on pitching to Kyle DeBarge. And he just did not let them get away with it. And he just got off to a ridiculously bad start. Like, we're talking 4 for 25. And he still finishes at .361 with the home runs, with the RBIs. He's the best player on the best team. He may not have had the best season, right? Statistically, it's tough to, there could be reasons why Banks Tolley has those statistics, but nonetheless, he leads the league in home runs. He leads the league in batting average, and he's second in RBIs. But the Cajuns were the best team, and Kyle DeBarge was the best player on that team. So we'll see. That could be closer than I think, but it just kept on happening week after week with Coastal. And then they came home in Southern Miss, almost blew it twice by pitching to him. And then, they go on the road to Georgia Southern, and he just hammers away. And then South Alabama comes in. South Alabama actually walked him twice and then decided not to walk him, and he ended up with a couple of more home runs. So it is incredible to see that on a regular basis. Again, Banks, Sam Antonacci, Brooks Bryan, a lot of people had a lot of really good seasons in the Sun Belt. I'm forgetting Austin St. Laurent from App State, second in the league in hits. Will Mize at Georgia State led the league in base hits. Josh Tate had 81. There's we didn't see James Madison, the Cajuns, but, anytime you got a name, Fenwick Trimble, and he's among the offensive leaders, you got to be considered. But I would be surprised if it is not Kyle DeBarge. I would not be surprised if it's close with Banks Tolley. Quickly, let's check out the pitching, because could it be Chase Morgan? The Cajuns pitching has been short as of recently. The Marshall guys had some good numbers. Let me check out the pitching, because I really haven't paid attention at all. Chase Morgan leads the league in ERA, 2.76, but only 4 wins. Now, a lot of that was He wasn't pitching long into the game. That was the thing with that. 4-2 in 11 starts. It's got some good numbers. 65 in the third innings pitched, 61 strikeouts, 17 walks. You know who probably should get the pitcher of the year? And I don't know how often it goes to this. Is LP Langevin. Now, he gave up a 3-run home run to South Alabama, and his numbers are not quite as good as they were. But 57 and 2/3 innings pitched, 33 hits, 30 strikeouts, 30 walks, 97 strikeouts. He was a starter to begin the year, and then he went, I'd say, the closer, but it was almost as though whoever was pitching on Friday night was the opener. So LP Langevin, in 57 and 2/3 innings pitched, led the league in strikeouts. That's who's probably going to be your pitcher of the year, I think. So let's look at this way. Bryce Blevins of Marshall, 86 innings pitched. Not bad, 71 strikeouts. Not great. You'd like to have at least a strikeout per innings pitched, but 71 strikeouts. Drew Harlow of Marshall, like I said, these guys had some good numbers. 85 innings pitched, 80 strikeouts, all right? Billy Oldham of Southern Miss, 82 and 2/3 innings pitched, 85 strikeouts. LP Langevin, 57 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 97 strikeouts. That's probably going to be your pitcher of the year. Again, a little slanted, and has not been quite as dominant as he had been. Really mowed down Coastal one time. Tried to come back a second night against Southern Miss and didn't. And then South Alabama did give up a 3-run home run that was in the suspended ball game. So we'll see it. We'll see if the Cajuns can double dip. I know there's some other people. It's a lot of Cajuns guys up there. Andrew Herman hasn't pitched well lately, so he's probably not going to be included. Let's see who leads the league in wins quickly. Let's see. Nico Mazza is 8-3. He's got like a 4.19 ERA. He's got okay numbers. Luke Lyon, 8-3. Billy Oldham, 7-2 from Southern Miss. Ty Fisher from Georgia Southern, 7-5. Again, Langevin is 6-1. His ERA isn't great at 3.43 for a closer-ish, but the opponent's average against is 163. And, he struck out almost a third of the batters that he's faced, or almost half. I'm sorry. He's got 203 at-bats. 203 at-bats. 97 strikeouts. All right. So like I said, I hadn't really looked at that. Probably think I'm Homer, as the case may be. But that's probably your pitcher of the year. The Cajuns got a good shot at double dipping the pitcher. And you could get all three with Matt Deggs. And the Southern Miss coach may get some because, first year, and they're second, so he's going to get some votes too. But the Cajuns could do a little sweeping here for postseason awards that I presume are coming out either Monday or Tuesday. So, okay, we are expecting on Monday to get Matt Stewart on. He's going to have the call of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament, so we will preview that for Tuesday's episode. Also, we're up to 1,230 subscribers. I got to get a graphic drive for 1,500. Really appreciate it. You guys are great. We keep on growing. And it is a big help. But we got, unfortunately, no more softball, but we should have at least a couple weeks of baseball. We'll see if somebody can make the Super Regionals as Southern Miss did last year. But it should be a very exciting Sun Belt Conference tournament, and we're looking forward to covering that. We'll decide if I'm going up there in Montgomery to cover, the semis and the finals. Doesn't have to be the Cajuns. That would help, but it doesn't have to be. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Matt Stewart coming up on Tuesday's episode, and we will talk to you then. Everybody, enjoy your Monday. And I'm Dave Schultz, and you've been listening and watching to a Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.